Blake, welcome to the podcast, man.
How you doing, Dustin?
Doing as good as I can. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty well, all things considered.
I understand. We see you at the desk each and every week on Championship Wrestling, actually calling the action. But I think it's important for the listeners to know right off the bat that you're a professional fighter. You're a legit badass, right?
Absolutely. So I was supposed to fight on Friday the 13th. The coronavirus ended up getting that shut down as the very beginning of all that shutdown. But Friday the 13th, I was supposed to main event on the Fox Sports Network, fighting for the heavyweight world title for Lights Out Extreme Fighting. That's who I'm signed with. I've been fighting professionally for about 6 years. And I'm starting to main event on TV and getting big fights. It's been a big buildup for, like I said, I've been doing this for 6 years, and I'm finally now like 5 years in, catching my stride and really performing to the point where I really feel like I'm in a prime, and things are going fantastic with it. I'm also doing a little commentary for Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, like you mentioned, which I really enjoy. I've been a huge wrestling fan for my whole life.
Yeah.
And so it's awesome to I love combat sports, and this is combat sports entertainment. I have a lot of fun with it.
Absolutely. Wrestling and MMA kind of have a big crossover. I want you guys to all follow Blake Troop on Instagram at Bulletproof Troop. And we had a great show on Saturday. But before we get into that, I did want to mention that when we met last year in Hollywood, man, you were setting up rings, you were working out in the ring, you were doing whatever was asked for you. Now, as you mentioned, you're in a suit at the broadcast booth, all while training for fights with Lights Out Extreme Fighting. How did all that come about? How did you end up in the broadcast booth?
So I guess it goes a little bit of a backstory. Lights Out Extreme Fighting, they're mutual owners from Lights Out Extreme Fighting, the MMA promotion I'm signed to, and Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. They're very closely related. Dave Marquez works for both companies, Steve Bash. And professional wrestling's been something that I've been interested in getting into already. And so it was a good match for both parties involved, because they had those two promotions. And that's essentially what I'm trying to do. Like you said, right now I'm a professional MMA fighter, very high-level professional MMA fighter. But I basically have a professional wrestling gimmick in fighting, the whole Bulletproof Troop, where I come out with the chain. And I got cool new stuff that I've added to the gimmick that I was looking to show off on Friday the 13th, but fight got canceled. But so, I've been doing this Bulletproof Troop thing for about 3.5 years. And it's one of the big things that was a turning point in my MMA career, was starting this whole Bulletproof Troop brand. Because at the end of the day, fighting, just like wrestling, just like movies and everything else, it's entertainment. Same with social media. People go on here to be entertained. And so it's why guys like Conor McGregor get these huge money fights and so many people tune in, because he's an entertaining guy. So I've essentially applied my own personality to my character. I mean, it's just me with the volume on loud, but coming out and having a lot of fun with that. So this Bulletproof Troop character has really picked up over the years because I cut a lot of promos and so forth. I actually had a WWE talent scout discover me or whatever that, pitched me. I didn't get a tryout. I ended up getting injured and, got put on the back burner, but it didn't stop me from continuing to pursue towards professional wrestling.
No doubt about it. I got to ask you too, because I've been in the ring and been at the commentating booth. I do ring announcing for MMA. So we do a lot of the same stuff, except for I don't get in there and beat people up for a living. Do you like it better being in the ring, or is it better being at the broadcast booth?
I actually really enjoy both. I do a lot of commentary for fighting as well. I'm a competitor. At the end of the day, I like to be on the field competing, the battlefield particularly. I enjoy being in the action, but I also like sitting back and being able to talk about what's going on. I'm a little bit newer to commentary for professional wrestling, but fighting, I'm very well versed. So I enjoy sitting down and breaking down what's going on for other viewers to have a better understanding of it, because the more you understand what's going on, the more enjoyable it is. So I enjoy both. I enjoy being in the action, and I enjoy sitting back and calling the action. I think both have really have their different benefits. I can get behind a commentary booth every day of the week. I can only get in the cage once every.
Right.
So they're two different things, but they're both enjoyable. And I think having the ability to go back and forth between the two makes both that much more enjoyable, instead of eating the same meal every day. You got 2 meals or something. where I've got
right.
a variety of spectrum.
We're catching up real quick here for the first time ever, actually, on the podcast, talking to Blake Bulletproof Troop. Again, you can follow him on Instagram at Bulletproof Troop. You've been ringside with Todd Kinley and Jeff Resnick for a few months now, and you talked about all the things that you enjoyed. I am telling you, we are enjoying the brand new commentary team. And we can't wait to see you in the ring. So when will we see you? And I know that we don't know exactly because of all the stay-home stuff right now, but in a perfect world, let's say after your fight, how quickly will we see you in the wrestling ring?
We'll see. I want to make sure that I make the proper debut into the professional wrestling world. I don't want to rush it or... I know that there's going to be fantastic opportunities for me, and I know Dave Marquez is one of the greatest minds in professional wrestling. So I'm just sitting back and grinding in the shadows and seeing what he wants me to do. He's the one who put me behind the commentary booth, and everybody's been really pleased with that. So, so I'm just sitting back taking orders, and
hey, there's been a lot of success from that commentary booth. Dan Joseph, he got hurt. He went to the commentating booth. Now he's back. He's the United TV champion.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's definitely a good place to be. And we're talking about Championship Wrestling presented by Pro Shingle every Saturday at noon on CW30 in Memphis. And you can watch on YouTube Premiere and a live chat. Everybody was excited this weekend. Saturday was one of our wildest main events that we've ever seen. I've got to ask you, what was it like calling that Falls Count Anywhere match between Lacey Ryan and Heather Monroe? It was crazy.
It was crazy, and it was a bombshell because we didn't even know what was going on. We've known Houston's been throwing the different stipulations, and he says this and that, and Heather's right then says, well, fine, Falls Count Anywhere. And he goes like, all right, starts right now. And bam, we're in the middle of a fist fight. It wasn't even like there's a whole walkout and a build-up. Like, it was just, boom, it popped off like a street fight. And that was a scrap, man. Those girls were banging each other, taking it outside, Houston getting thrown in the trash can. What an incredible fight.
Say, man, they fought in the crowd. They almost fought to the broadcast booth. They went outside in the parking lot. Our favorite part, and I know Houston Body's going to kill us for saying this, but Lacey Ryan throwing Houston Body into the dumpster had to be the greatest thing we've seen on television. How do you keep up with the action when it's going like that, man?
It was hard, and we didn't see Houston for the rest of the day. I don't even know if you ever got out of that trash can.
Oh my gosh.
That was an incredible fight, though. I knew somebody was going in there. When they got up there, they're fighting for suplexes to throw one or the other into the dumpster. Houston snuck in and kind of blocked Lacey from throwing Heather in, and he ended up jumping in instead, getting tossed in instead.
Oh, it was absolutely tremendous.
I'm a huge fan of watching women compete in combat sports because women come and compete with something to prove. Men feel like they should be there. Girls come and earn their spot in combat sports. They're some of the toughest athletes in fighting. And, man, those two girls, Heather and Lacey, put on an incredible fight. It was that was more of a fist fight than a wrestling match. There were some wrestling moves, but they were beating the crap out of each other. The finish was that running knee. It was a fist fight, man.
So after that, we even had a bottle fight, bro. They were even fighting with bottles.
Yeah, Nico Marquez took one to the head. That looked
my
painful.
Gosh. Well, we appreciate you for joining us here to talk about professional wrestling and your journey through MMA to the broadcast booth and back into the ring. We've got a lot of listeners from the Memphis area, as well as just literally everywhere. Is there anything that you want to tell the fans, whether it's MMA or professional wrestling? Because, Memphis, man, the history of wrestling here in Memphis is really unmatched. And, we're going to be throwing our big belated birthday bash. I know that you'll probably be on the call for that action whenever it does happen. Is there any message you want to send out to the fans that are supporting and watching?
Just shout out to all the fans out in Memphis. The Bulletproof Troop Army is taking over. If you want to grab some merch and join the team, you can follow me at Bulletproof Troop on Instagram or pick up some merch at bulletprooftroop.com. Shout out to all my Bulletproof Troopers and Bulletproof Troopettes around the globe, especially the ones in Memphis.